The wedding car stops at 42C instead of 42B. One typo. One number. Mei Lin climbs in wearing her grandmother's jade bracelet, the only thing she didn't sell to save her dying father. She thinks she's being driven to marry a 72-year-old man who bought her for 300,000 yuan. But the man at this address, 31, Korean, a billionaire. The driver punches in the coordinates. Nobody double checks. In 48 hours, she'll be a CEO's wife. Right now, she's about to discover that 7 women before her weren't this lucky. Subscribe. This typo exposes a trafficking ring hiding in plain sight. Mei Lin's hands shake as she applies lipstick in her childhood bedroom for the last time. The apartment smells like her mother's cooking, but there's no food today. They ran out of money 3 days ago. Her father lies in a hospital bed with stage 4 liver disease. Treatment? 300,000 yuan. Their bank account? 800 yuan. Her mother braids her hair one final time, tears falling silently onto Mei Lin's shoulders. Her 16-year-old brother, Jiang Wei, locks himself in the bathroom. The sound of his fists against the wall echoes through the thin apartment. Each thud matches Mei Lin's heartbeat. Her mother's voice cracks as she whispers, "Some cages are bigger than others. Maybe his will have windows." Mei Lin touches the jade bracelet on her wrist. Her grandmother's last gift. The only beautiful thing she still owns. But nobody knew what was really happening in apartment 42C, right next door. The assistant arrived yesterday afternoon. Designer suit, leather briefcase, dead eyes. Behind him, a Rolls-Royce worth more than Mei Lin's entire neighborhood combined. The contract was simple. Marriage to Chen Yaozhu in exchange for full medical coverage. No divorce for 5 years. Breach of contract means repayment with 200% interest. The photo showed a man who looked 72 going on corpse. Hollow eyes, liver-spotted hands, a smile that never reached anywhere. But rich. So rich, his assistant didn't bother hiding his contempt for their poverty. Mei Lin signed while her mother sobbed into a dish towel in the corner. Jiang Wei's muffled screams came from behind the bathroom door. That night, Mei Lin stared at the ceiling until dawn. The jade bracelet felt heavier than usual. Her grandmother never talked about where it came from, just said, "Keep it. You'll know when it matters." The wedding was scheduled for noon at the Civil Bureau. No ceremony, no flowers, no guests. Just signatures and a bank transfer that would end her life as she knew it. What Chen's hiding will shock you. Keep watching. You need to see this. The apartment building has 42 units. Mei Lin lives in 42A. Chen Yaozhu lives in 42B. But in 42C lives Kang Ji-woo, 31 years old, CEO of Starlight Entertainment, the Korean company that just bought China's biggest streaming platform for $2.8 billion. He returned from Seoul yesterday. Same building, different universe. They've passed each other in the lobby dozens of times. He's always on his phone, closing deals that affect millions of people. She's always invisible, just another tired face in a building full of them. In 30 minutes, a driver's mistake will bind them together forever. But first, you need to understand why Ji-woo notices the bracelet. 11:30 a.m. The wedding car arrives. Black sedan, government plates. Driver checking his phone with bloodshot eyes. 42C, pick up bride. Chen's assistant texted him at 2 a.m., exhausted from closing another property deal. She transposed 2 letters. Nobody double-checks. Nobody questions. Ji-woo thinks it's his company car arriving early. He has a business registration meeting at the bureau. Standard paperwork for the Starlight expansion. Mei Lin thinks it's her prison transport. Right on time. No escape left. She walks out in her simple white dress, 50 yuan from a street market. It smells faintly of mothballs and desperate hope. The only white clothing she owns. Ji-woo walks out in his Tom Ford suit, phone pressed to ear, speaking rapid Korean about quarterly projections and market penetration. They reach the car simultaneously from opposite directions. The driver opens the door. "For the wedding," he announces in Mandarin. Time stops. Ji-woo freezes mid-sentence, quarterly reports forgotten. Mei Lin freezes mid-step, hand reaching for the door handle. Their eyes meet through the car window. His, sharp, confused, calculating in that way CEOs learn. Hers, dead, resigned, carrying the weight of someone who's already accepted their execution. For 3 seconds, neither breathes. Then Ji-woo does something that shocks even himself. He smiles. Not the corporate smile he gives investors, not the polite smile he uses at galas. A real one. "Wrong bride," he says in perfect Mandarin. "Or wrong groom." Mei Lin's breath catches in her throat. She hasn't seen a man smile at her in weeks. Everyone's looked at her with pity, the way you look at livestock being led to slaughter. Or disgust, the way you look at someone selling themselves. Never warmth. Never humanity. He sees the jade bracelet first. Genuine antique. Late Qing dynasty if he's guessing right. Worth more than her dress, her shoes, everything else she's wearing combined. He sees the concealer failing to hide 3 days of sleepless circles under her eyes. He sees the way she holds herself, spine straight despite the world crushing her shoulders, pride refusing to break even when everything else has. He sees the resignation. That's what cuts through his billion-dollar composure. She looks like someone walking to their execution, and she's accepted it. "Are you getting married today?" Ji-woo asks gently, a tone his executives have never heard. She nods. "Do you want to?" She doesn't answer. That is her answer. What he offers next, some call it rescue, others manipulation. Comment which side you're on. Ji-woo holds up his hand. The driver's stammering apology dies in his throat. "Get in," Ji-woo says, eyes never leaving Mei Lin's face. "I'm going to the same bureau. Business registration. We'll share the car." He pauses, then adds, "Driver made a mistake. Might as well make it useful." Mei Lin climbs in, because what choice does she have? The car costs more than her family's apartment. This man's cologne probably costs more than her father's medication. The door closes. The outside world becomes muffled, distant, less real. Ji-woo makes small talk in that effortless way powerful people do, asking about her morning like they're not strangers sharing a vehicle to life-changing appointments, like she's not wearing a dress that smells like mothballs, like his watch doesn't cost more than her father's entire medical bill. Then his phone rings. He answers in Korean. His voice transforms completely. Cold, commanding, ruthless. The voice of a man who fired 300 employees before breakfast and never blinked. Mei Lin doesn't understand the words, but she understands power and cruelty, and the performance men put on when they need to prove they're untouchable. He hangs up. The coldness melts when he turns back to her. His eyes return to the bracelet. His jaw tightens, almost imperceptible, but she catches it. "That bracelet," he says carefully. "Where did you get it?" Mei Lin touches it instinctively, protective, reverent. "My grandmother's. The only thing of value I have left. I tried to sell it 3 times to pay for medication. Something always stopped me." Ji-woo nods slowly. His grandmother had one exactly like it. She wore it the day she escaped North Korea, with nothing but the clothes on her back and her dignity. She died wearing it 40 years later, still trapped in a different kind of cage, still owned by a man who bought her. He was 7 when he found her body. The bracelet was still on her wrist. He recognizes desperation. He's built his empire on reading people, their tells, their breaking points, their prices. But what he's about to ask will sound insane. "What if," Ji-woo says, each word measured like he's negotiating a merger, "you married someone else today?" Mei Lin laughs. Actually laughs. It sounds broken, hollow, like glass cracking under invisible pressure. "I'm being sold to a 72-year-old man in exchange for my father's cancer treatment. 300,000 yuan for a life." Her voice doesn't shake. It's past that. "Unless you're offering something better, this conversation is pointless." Ji-woo pulls out his phone without hesitation, makes a call. Korean first, rapid, commanding, allowing no argument. Then Mandarin. "Transfer 300,000 yuan to..." He looks at her expectantly, waiting. Her hands tremble as she gives him the hospital details. Tongji Hospital, Hepatology Department, patient ID 847392. Account number, stammered through tears she's trying to suppress. He inputs the information while she watches, frozen, unable to process, unable to breathe. "Done," he says, turning the phone screen toward her. "Your father's treatment is paid for. Surgery scheduled within 48 hours. Top surgical team assigned." The car suddenly feels too small. Mei Lin can't get enough air. Her entire reality just shifted in 30 seconds. "What did you just..." Her voice cracks. "Why would you..." "Subscribe. The truth gets darker. Because I need a wife for visa reasons." Ji-woo's voice returns to business mode. Calm, professional, like he didn't just transfer a life-changing amount of money to a stranger. "My company's China expansion requires permanent residency. Marriage to a Chinese citizen expedites the process by 18 months. I was going to hire someone through an agency next week." He pauses, something almost like humor crossing his face. "But the universe just delivered you to my car." Literally. He pulls out a contract. Thick, professional, already prepared. His assistant drafted it weeks ago for exactly this scenario. 5 years, separate residences. You live your life, I live mine. Except you're not sleeping with a corpse, and I'm not sleeping with you. His bluntness would be offensive if it weren't so relieving. Business arrangement. Clean, professional. Your freedom intact, your father alive, and you walk away with double what Chen was offering. Mei Lin reads through tears, blurring the words. Every clause is identical to Chen's contract, except payment, 600,000 yuan, double. Physical intimacy, explicitly forbidden unless mutually agreed in writing. Separate housing, guaranteed, with security deposit paid. Education fund, 200,000 yuan for continued studies. No monitoring or control of personal life. No family obligations or interference. Exit clause if either party feels unsafe. Why? She whispers, voice breaking. Not, why me? Not, what's the catch? Just, why? Why would anyone do this? Jiwoo's corporate mask cracks. His voice drops to something softer, more human than she's heard. Something that sounds like pain he's carried for 24 years. Because my grandmother wore that bracelet. She married a man who bought her too, arranged through a broker after she escaped North Korea. She thought she was getting safety. She got 40 years of beatings instead. His jaw tightens, eyes fixed on the window, unable to meet hers. When I was 7, I watched her die still wearing it, still trapped, still owned. I held her hand and promised her I'd never let another woman end up in that cage if I could stop it. He looks out the window at Beijing traffic blurring past. I built Starlight from nothing, made my first million at 23, my first billion at 28. His voice hardens again, but different this time. Determined, not cold. Money gives you power. Power gives you choices. I swore I'd use both to stop what I couldn't stop as a child. He finally turns back to her. Today, I can stop it. Mei Lin sees him for the first time, really sees him. Not a billionaire, not a CEO, not a stranger in an expensive suit. A 7-year-old boy who watched his grandmother die in a cage and spent 24 years making sure he'd never be powerless again. Then his phone buzzes. A message. His face goes white. Actually white. "You're Mr. Chen?" he says slowly, voice tight with controlled rage. "What's his full name?" "Chen Yaozhu," Mei Lin answers. "Why, what's wrong?" Jiwoo shows her his phone without a word. News article from yesterday. Buried in the business section where people rarely look. Headline: Real estate mogul Chen Yaozhu under investigation for human trafficking ring. 7 former wives missing. Authorities searching properties. The car swerves. The driver saw the headline too. His foot goes heavy on the accelerator. Instinct to get away from whatever this is. Mei Lin's vision blurs at the edges. Her ears ring like she's underwater. 7 wives. Missing. Not divorced, not separated, not living abroad. Missing. "I would have been number 8, she whispers. The words hang in the car like poison gas. The contract she signed yesterday wasn't marriage. It was a death sentence with legal paperwork. This happened yesterday. Most people ignored it. Don't be one of them. Subscribe. Comment if you think Chen should get the death penalty. I need to know what you think." Jiwoo's already dialing. His assistant answers on the first ring. "Pull everything on Chen Yaozhu. Property records, marriage certificates, missing persons reports. I want forensic accountants, private investigators, and every contact we have in Beijing police. Now." He hangs up. Dials again. "Legal team. Meet me at the Civil Bureau in 20 minutes. Bring everything for an emergency protection order." Mei Lin stares at the jade bracelet on her wrist. Her grandmother never talked about it, just said it came from a friend who needed help. 1987, the same year Chen's first wife disappeared. Jiwoo's assistant calls back within 90 seconds. "Sir, Chen's first wife was Park Min-ji, Korean national. Disappeared March 1987. Last seen leaving Chen's residence with a jade bracelet and a small bag. Border records show she never crossed. Case closed due to insufficient evidence." Mei Lin's breath stops. "My grandmother helped a Korean woman in 1987. Gave her money for the border crossing. The woman left her bracelet behind as collateral. She said she'd come back for it once she was safe." Her voice cracks. "She never came back." Jiwoo's hands curl into fists so tight his knuckles go white. That woman was Chen's first wife. Your grandmother helped her try to escape. Chen caught her before she made it to the border. The bracelet Mei Lin's grandmother kept wasn't just a memory. It was evidence. Evidence she couldn't use because Chen was too powerful, too connected, too untouchable. 38 years later, Chen tried to buy her granddaughter. Same trap, same bracelet, different generation. The car is flying now, driver's foot heavy on the accelerator. They're not going to the Civil Bureau anymore, they're running. Jiwoo transforms into someone Mei Lin hasn't seen yet. Not the smooth businessman, not the vulnerable grandson. Someone dangerous. Someone who built an empire by knowing exactly how to dismantle people who get in his way. He's making calls in rapid-fire Korean. Lawyers, police contacts, government officials, media connections. Each conversation lasts 30 seconds maximum. Instructions delivered like military commands. You're not going back to that apartment, ever. He's not asking, he's commanding. My security team is moving your family to the Peninsula Hotel in 20 minutes. Presidential suite, guards on every floor. Chen doesn't get within a kilometre of them. Mei Lin should feel grateful. She should feel saved. Instead, she feels like she's trading one cage for another. Gilded bars are still bars. Then Jiwoo does something unexpected again. He turns to her. His eyes are soft again. The vulnerable grandson, not the dangerous CEO. Do you still want to marry me? His voice is gentle, asking, not commanding. Because you don't have to. Your father's treatment is paid regardless. That money is yours whether you sign this contract or not. No strings, no debt, no obligation. He's giving her the choice Chen never would have. The choice his grandmother never had. I can get you and your family to a safe house. New identities if needed. Chen will never find you. But you don't owe me marriage for that. You don't owe me anything. What would you do? Comment your answer before you see what she chooses. Mei Lin looks at the jade bracelet on her wrist, then at Jiwoo. Really looks at him. Past the expensive suit, past the corporate power, past the smooth words. She sees the 7-year-old boy who made a promise to his dying grandmother. She sees someone who just gave her the choice no one else would. Yes, she says, I'll marry you. Not because she has to, because she chooses to. Because for the first time in 3 days, someone asked her what she wanted instead of telling her what she was worth. They arrive at the Civil Bureau at 12:47 p.m. Jiwoo's legal team is already there. 6 lawyers forming a protective wall. Police detectives meet them at the entrance. Chen's assistant is already in custody, singing every detail about the trafficking operation to reduce her sentence. Chen himself sits in apartment 42B, checking his Patek Philippe watch, completely unaware his 8th victim just slipped through his fingers. The officiant looks confused. This clearly wasn't the wedding scheduled for this time slot. But when 6 lawyers and 4 detectives say, "Process this now," you process it now. No romantic speeches, no tears, no flowers. Just 2 people signing papers while police sirens wail 3 blocks away. Chen being arrested as they initial page 4. Chen being handcuffed as they sign page 7. Chen being read his rights as they finalize page 12. Jiwoo slides a simple silver ring onto her finger. Nothing expensive, nothing flashy, just real. 5 years, he says. Then we'll talk about what this really is. Mei Lin nods, feeling the unfamiliar weight of the ring. 5 years. The hospital calls during the ceremony, right as the officiant says, "Marriage certificate approved." Mei Lin's father. Surgery scheduled for tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Full treatment plan approved. Top surgeons assigned. Private recovery suite reserved. She covers her mouth to hold back sobs. The officiant pretends not to notice. That afternoon, Mei Lin moves into Jiwoo's guest house. It's bigger than her family's apartment. Separate building on the same property. 2 bedrooms, full kitchen, floor-to-ceiling windows, and doors that lock from the inside. Her mother's words echo. Some cages are bigger than others. Maybe his will have windows. This cage has windows, and the key is in her pocket. They have dinner once a week to maintain appearances for immigration officials. Monday nights, 7 p.m. Always dumplings. She insists on dumplings, the first thing she chooses for herself. The first Monday is silent, awkward. She doesn't know which fork to use. He pretends not to notice. The second Monday, she asks him to teach her Korean. He asks her to teach him to cook her mother's recipes. By the fourth Monday, they're laughing. Real laughter, not polite laughter. By the 8th Monday, Jiwoo realizes he looks forward to these dinners more than board meetings. That realization terrifies him. Mei Lin enrolls in university. Architecture. The degree she abandoned when her father got sick. The degree she thought she'd never finish. Jiwoo's education fund covers tuition, books, housing near campus if she wants it. She protests. "This isn't in the contract." He shrugs. "Consider it a bonus." It wasn't a bonus. It was never about the contract. 6 months after the wedding, police knock on their door. They've found something in Chen's basement. Something that requires them to speak with Mei Lin. Something bad enough that they won't discuss it over the phone. 3 bodies. Concrete basement. False wall. Plastic sheeting. Wife number 2. Wife number 4. Wife number 7. Buried where no one would think to look, in a mansion full of expensive art and imported marble. The other 4 are still missing, still unaccounted for, still ghosts. The detective's voice is gentle but factual. Each woman wore a jade bracelet identical to yours. We believe Chen gave them as engagement gifts, symbols of ownership. He kept them on the bodies. Trophies. He kept them like trophies. Mei Lin throws up in the guest house bathroom. She can't stop shaking. Can't stop seeing those evidence photos the detective showed her. Can't stop thinking, that was supposed to be me. Body number 8, under concrete, wearing a bracelet. Jiwoo holds her hair back while she's sick. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't need to. Just stays. A typo saved her life. 1 wrong number in a GPS address. That's all that separated her from those 3 women in Chen's basement. 1 wrong number. Most people ignored this story. Don't be one of them. Subscribe. That night, Mei Lin can't stay in the guest house. Every shadow looks like Chen. Every creak sounds like footsteps. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees concrete and plastic sheeting. At 3:17 a.m., she walks to the main house. Her hands shake as she knocks. Jiwoo opens the door instantly. He's fully dressed, hasn't slept either. They've both been haunted by the same ghosts tonight. "Can I stay here tonight?" Her voice cracks. "I don't want to be alone." He steps aside without a word. Doesn't ask questions. Doesn't make her explain. Just opens the door wider. She falls asleep on his couch within 10 minutes. Exhaustion finally overtaking fear. He covers her with a blanket, then sits in the chair across from her, watching. Not creepy, not possessive, protective, making sure the nightmares don't take her, making sure she knows she's not alone. When she wakes up at dawn, he's still there. Hair messed up, tie loosened, eyes tired but alert. He didn't sleep at all, kept watch through the entire night. Their eyes meet. Something unspoken passes between them. Something that has nothing to do with contracts or visas or business arrangements. The contract suddenly feels like a lie they're telling themselves. Monday dinners become Tuesday dinners too. Then Thursday, then Saturday. Sunday breakfast appears on the schedule. Wednesday lunch becomes routine. They stop pretending it's about the contract. Stop pretending it's about immigration paperwork. Stop pretending they're just business partners sharing a property. His hand lingers on hers when passing dishes. She leans into him when they watch movies on the couch. The guest house sits empty most nights now. Her toothbrush appears in his bathroom. Her books pile up on his coffee table. Her laughter fills rooms that used to echo with silence. Ji-woo realizes he smiles more when she's around. Real smiles, not corporate smiles. The kind that reach his eyes and make his face ache from lack of practice. Mei Lin realizes she's stopped counting days until the contract ends. Stopped checking her calendar for the 5-year mark. Stopped planning her exit. On their first wedding anniversary, Ji-woo makes dumplings. By himself. From scratch. They're terrible. Lumpy. Falling apart. Some are burnt. Some are raw. They look like crimes against cuisine. Mei Lin laughs so hard she cries. Actually cries from laughter for the first time in a year. I'm a terrible student, he admits, looking at the disaster on the plate. You're a terrible cook, she corrects, still laughing. But you tried. That's what matters. They eat the terrible dumplings together. Every single one. Even the burnt ones. Even the ones that fall apart when they pick them up. Somewhere between the laughter and the soy sauce and the terrible cooking, Ji-woo realizes something that terrifies him more than any business merger or hostile takeover ever has. This isn't business anymore. This hasn't been business for months. He looks at her, really looks at her, the way he did in that car a year ago. Except now, her eyes aren't dead. They're alive, shining, full of light he helped reignite. And they're looking back at him with something that makes his heart forget how to maintain professional distance. What if, he says carefully, we made this real? Mei Lin smiles, the same broken smile from the car, except now it's healing. Now it's real. Now it reaches her eyes. Ask me again in 4 years, she says, when we're not contractually obligated. When you know it's real and not just gratitude. When I know I chose you, not just the man who saved me. Deal, he says. 4 years later, he asks, properly, down on one knee in the same guest house she first moved into. With a new ring, not simple silver this time, but still not ostentatious. Just them. And terrible homemade dumplings on the table behind him, because it's their anniversary tradition now. She says yes before he finishes the question. We've all wanted love that waits. Comment if this made you believe in it. Chen Yaozhu gets life in prison. No death penalty. Controversial decision that sparks protests outside the courthouse. 3 murders confirmed. 7 victims total, 4 still missing. 38 years of buying and burying women who thought they were signing marriage contracts. The trial lasts 8 months. Evidence is damning. Property records showing construction on that basement the week after each wife disappeared. Bank transfers to disposal companies. Testimony from assistants who didn't know, but absolutely knew. Mei Lin attends every single day of the trial, wears the jade bracelet every single day, sits in the front row where Chen can see her, the one who got away. Police search for the missing 4 for years, following the trail of jade bracelets and offshore property records. They find wife number 5 in 2027, alive, in hiding in rural Guangdong province, terrified, using a different name, working as a teacher. She's been running for 15 years, sleeping with lights on, never staying in one place more than a year. Still wearing the bracelet because she's terrified to take it off, like it's the evidence keeping her alive. Wife number 1, number 3, number 6, and number 8 are never found. Some say they're still out there, wearing bracelets just like Mei Lin's grandmother's, waiting for a car to arrive at the wrong address, waiting for their mistake that saves them. Mei Lin becomes an architect specializing in women's shelters, buildings with windows, and doors that lock from the inside. Emergency exits on every floor, panic buttons in every room, safe rooms that can't be breached, architecture designed around one principle: you can always leave. She names the first one after Jiwoo's grandmother. Park Minji House, the woman who never got her shelter, the woman whose bracelet saved her granddaughter's friend's granddaughter 38 years later. At the ribbon cutting, Mei Lin wears the jade bracelet. Always. Every day of her life. Not as a memory of what almost was, but as a reminder of the women who weren't as lucky. The ones who climbed into the right car. The ones whose GPS didn't make a mistake. The ones still buried under concrete somewhere. Jiwoo funds 17 more shelters across China, never publicizes it, never takes credit, just keeps the promise he made to his 7-year-old self that he'd stop it whenever he could. One typo, one number, one stranger who saw his grandmother's pain in a girl's eyes and refused to look away. That's all it takes to change everything. But how many women didn't get the typo? How many climbed into the right car that took them to the wrong place? How many are still waiting for their mistake to save them? If this story changed how you see mistakes, subscribe. Some errors save lives. The next time your GPS makes a mistake, maybe it's not a mistake at all. Should Chen have gotten the death penalty? Comment your verdict below. Next, the woman who married her kidnapper to survive, then destroyed him from within. Besties, you're not alone in this. We tell the stories they try to bury. Subscribe so you never miss one.